Bringing that good music. Yahweh International. New Foundation Production presents.
Just a little food for thought, baby. Just a little food for thought, baby. Come on. Just a little food for thought, just a little food for thought.
It's your boy Keys. Welcome to the Food for Thought Show, sponsored by Yahweh International, New Foundation Productions. Man, we're gonna keep doing what we do. We're gonna keep giving you food for thought. But tonight, what we're gonna do is we're gonna continue to talk about the music industry. I got some great feedback, and people wanted a little bit more of a walkthrough. And if you don't know what a walkthrough is, basically taking people on a pretty precise journey to how to accomplish their goals when it comes to being a singer, or performer, or producer, whatever it may be. So let me just, first of all, start it off like this. First of all, before you really get into the music industry, you gotta clearly, seriously decide what you're willing to sacrifice to pursue your passion. A lot of people talk about, I want to do this, I want to do that, but they don't put in the work. They're not passionate about it. And they think, and the funny thing is, they think they're passionate about it. They think they're putting in work. It's amazing how I'll come across people, or people will book sessions, or people will say they rap and do all these things. And, I'm like, okay, show me what you've been doing for the last 2 years. It don't be nothing. I'm serious. It don't be too much of nothing, man. I've got some lyrics in my book and da-da-da-da. I'm like, dog, you have zero time to be messing around. I go hard on people about saying there's something and they ain't worked. Let me give you an example. Before I break it down to you, let me explain to people my journey. First of all, it's the personal sacrifice. The personal sacrifice is me leaving my comfort zone. At the time, that was Alaska. It's everything I knew, everything I've known. It's all my family was there at the time. And I pretty much said, man, actually the funny thing is, and I can't remember his name. No, it's Gary. He was the vice president of marketing and promotion for Warner Brothers Record. He came to Alaska, maybe with Club Nouveau or some well-known group. And I just happened to be, I think, backstage. And he gave me his card and stuff. I told him, I want to get in the music industry. And he just straight up told me, he said, look, if you want to be in the music industry, you have to leave Alaska. You got to understand, back then, there was no social media. There was nothing like that. Being in Alaska was like being in the North Pole. It's just no one was looking out for Alaskans when it came to music, not back then. So he said, look, you're going to have to go somewhere where the music industry is happening. And you only have a couple of choices. Really, there was only two. California and New York. So he said you probably have a better chance of breaking into the industry if you go to California. And of course, at the time, I had family in both Northern and Southern California, but I chose the Bay Area. So I think 19, I booked a ticket and flew to Richmond, flew to the Bay Area, and my first city was Richmond, California. Now, let me explain something to everybody about that sacrifice. When you leave everything, your comfort, your stability and everything, and you go to a city that's no one knows you, no one cares, you're nobody. All you have is your dreams. All you have is your passion. All you is this gift, right? So then once you get where you're going, once you've made that personal sacrifice, now it's, okay, how do you do it? What am I gonna do? So let me just clarify to people what was happening when I touched ground zero. The Bay Area had not blown up yet, I don't think, if I remember right. If you were in the town, of course, Too Short at that time was really just doing it. all the people that you know from the Bay back in the time, you know, you had a little bit late, you had E40, The Click, Too Short, Rappin' Forte, RBL Posse. And let me just school you to how new I was when we were rehearsing at Jackson Street Studios. Remember, En Vogue was down the hall and no one knew who they were at the time. They hadn't blown up yet. So I came into an environment right before the explosion. But here's the thing, is you gotta understand that I was an outsider to a lot of people. Like, dog, where you from? Like, if you know that my producer name is Black Eskimo on the Beat, one of the reasons that happened was because they would make fun of me and call me a Black Eskimo. So I flipped it. But check it out. Here's the thing about it though. Back then, technology still wasn't making it easy enough to get into the business. Everything was super expensive. So you figure I was a rapper, singer, AKA producer, and I wanted to get into the industry. So I basically, you know, Carolyn Robinson bought me my first, second, and third studio, if I remember right. She bought me some equipment when I was in Alaska. She was my manager at the time. Actually, she's the one that actually helped me get to California. And then after that, she came down and then bought me my first studio. And I think she bought me one more studio. But let me just help you guys. No, actually the first studio. I'm sorry about that. So she made an investment that was pretty expensive at the time to make. She believed in what I was doing. And the only reason she backed what I was doing because she saw the work I was putting in. Like I was about that life. But let me really break it down to you. The second sacrifice. Sacrifice number one. Personal sacrifice, giving up your comfort zone, your family, your friends to pursue something that is so unknown to you, but is so deeply embedded in you. To not do it is to not live, to not breathe, to not eat. You can't, there's not an option. That was me. Okay. Sacrifice number two, financial. This is probably the biggest, most painful sacrifice you're gonna make when it comes to pursuing your career in music. So when I got to the Bay Area at the time, youngster, I thought the equipment I had was it. You know, I thought I was doing it, right? And then a good friend of mine said, let's go to the music studio, man. And we go in there. We always went to the studio. Well, actually, yeah, we went to the music studio. If I'm right, it's Fantasy Studios in Richmond. What was it, Fantasy? Anyway, I walk in there, right? I see this big mixing board. I see all this stuff. This was the first real studio that I had ever been in. And I saw the MPC 4000. I didn't know what it was at the time. I saw the pads. I really didn't know what a lot of this stuff was. I was pretty young. The equipment that I had was entry level. Still expensive, but still entry level, right? I think I had an Alesis sequencer, an Alesis drum machine. Oh my goodness, man. When I think about that stuff, bro, like, oh man, I had a DX7. I had some, you know, I could do some stuff. I could compose on this stuff. But to record, we still had to go to big studios back then, right? So every session was a major studio session. There was no 002s, rack. There was none of that, bro. When I started, you were going to pay full price for studio sessions. Even early Pro Tools was expensive. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody had it. It had not became global like that yet. It did not come, there was not an entry level to that. It was top level only. So you figure at some point, I remember deciding like, yo, my equipment wasn't up to par. Like I'm hearing these banging beats from the Bay Area, but and then you know from Southern California, and so I go to the music store where I knew this guy. I struck up a friendship with this guy, and I said, hey yo, like dog, like my beats ain't hitting. Da, 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 da. I'm expressing to him like, you know, what's happening within my music, because he always said, dude, you're a good writer, but you got to upgrade your game, you know what I'm saying? But I just never took that serious. I just thought he was trying to get me to buy some stuff. So then he just broke it down to me. He's like, look, dog, if you really want to make beats, you got to get into MPC 4000. And back then, brand new, because I said like, you know, what are these dudes using? Like, what's Dre using? You know, what are these cats using around that time? Gangsta rap was, you know, hitting hard. And he said you gotta get an MPC 4000, and of course all the keyboards that were out you synced up, and man, I'm serious. Listen to what I'm saying. Here's second sacrifice number 2, financial. I had to get 3 to 4 jobs. I had 4 jobs at one time. I would work my full-time job and just rotate all of the part-time jobs to buy this equipment and all this stuff. It just was so expensive. It was ridiculous. The amount of money that I had to invest to be legitimate in the business. You got to understand, like, seriously, in all serious business, like, thousands and thousands, I'm running around in hoopties, I'm catching bark, I'm doing whatever, but every dime I had was going into the music industry. Going into being a music producer. And back then, you had to pay a lot of money. You had to. It was just no way around it. You know what I'm saying? So you had to buy whatever was hot. And at the time, I remember the Fostex reel-to-reel came out, 8-track. There's all these tape, 8-tracks, reel-to-reel 8-tracks. All these 8-tracks started coming out, and you just had to keep upgrading. So your second sacrifice will be financial, because dog, this is not. If you're second guessing buying what you need, then you're not a professional. It's a hobby for you. You know what I'm saying? You're not willing to sacrifice, but perfect example. I know these dudes. The guy him and his homies want to be producers, but they smoke up all their money and then complain about not having no equipment. They smoke and party up all their money and then like, our keys, can we come? I'm like, dog, like, what are y'all doing with your money? Well, this, that, and the other. But I see them on Instagram. I know exactly what they're doing. They're not, it's not in them. They want to be music producers because they see other people doing it and they just want it. But when you are called to be a music producer, you're not going to smoke up your bunny and drink up your money because you need the new, hottest, latest thing. Look, let me tell you, like, straight up, point blank, between age 19 to maybe age 40, I had 5 various studios, 5 variations of my studios. When I think I got really happy when I got into the Pro Tools 002. One good thing about what Avid did, what Pro Tools, when Avid bought them, is they made entry-level recording systems. Because look, at the end of the day, 24-bit is 24-bit. So my first really expensive studio was the Ensoniq Paris recording system, which still today people say was probably one of the best recording systems out, better than Pro Tools, but they just couldn't compete. Pro Tools had their foot too far in the industry at the time. So, and I still have it in the garage, but you got all of the 002, 003, you've got all the M Audio stuff that came out. There were all these recording systems that were coming out. What else was there? Cakewalk. Oh my goodness, DigiDesign. There were all of these. There's various production and recording software. The DAW system stuff was blowing up. The industry was changing, and it had to, because everybody couldn't go to these massive studios and record. That's what stopped people from putting out music, because you couldn't afford to go to the bigger studios. So luckily, because of technology, these companies really gave way to allowing people to have home studios. It's still expensive, man. 002 back then, oh my goodness. But it allowed us to make the financial sacrifices to really build our companies. And what we did, what I did is when Food for Thought, the jazz group, and Christ-Sized Soldiers was really doing well, I just invested all the money. I never put it in my pocket. That's sacrifice number 3, people. Don't spend your profit from your shows on yourself. Reinvest reinvest your income from shows and CD sales back into your company. Don't even count that as personal property, because you need to bank that for various reasons. Reason number 1 is taxes, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But bank the money, because you're going to need it, because technology moves so fast. I'm on the music producer tip. So singers, you guys are coming later on down the road. But right now, on music producers, understanding that journey I had to constantly upgrade the studio. And every time I upgrade the studio, that was a major hit. thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to reinvest. So yeah, you can buy a 002, think you're popping. Oh, look, the 003 came out. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking it's like cell phones, how every time they come out with something new to get you to spend money. But let me give you an example of what's happening right now. Right now, I'm recording on my 002 on Logic. But the reality is it's glitchy, but the 003 works great. There's a reason why there's upgrades in systems. Is when 002 was going good, as time goes on, they learn about bugs and various things and they upgrade. And there's been various upgrades since then. So yes, don't spend your income from shows and recording sessions on yourself. Reinvest that back in the company, put it aside in the savings because you will need it. If you can't do that, dog, you're not serious. You're still you're still approaching it like a hobby. You're like a basketball player that don't want to go and try out. Oh yeah, I play ball at the playground, but now the tryouts are coming for your high school team or college. Well, I ain't got time for that. But I'm gonna go buy some sneakers. I'm gonna buy the latest shoes. I'm gonna look like I'm doing, like I'm serious about it. Yo, when people ask you if you make beats or if you're a music producer or music producers, there's an expectation of what they're expecting to get from you. And you can't get that if you're not staying current. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, I was on Pro Tools 8. I never jumped up to Pro Tools 9, 10, or 11. Because at the end of the day, Pro Tools 8 was fine for me. I was good. Because it still records 24-bit, I still could mix, yada yada, etc., until 12 came out. I said game changer, and I had to upgrade. I had to take that hit. You know what I'm saying? So thank God I had money put aside. Let me tell you, let me really help you break it down. Producers, listen. This is what happens when you don't upgrade your studio. I was on Pro Tools 8 002 with a non-Intel G5 tower. That was my rock forever, right? What happened is I bought, I think I bought something. I don't know if it was the Akai Advanced keyboard. Basically, I bought something and it didn't work. It wouldn't work because Apple stopped providing OS updates for the non-Intel towers, G5. I was stuck at 10.5 or whatever it may be. Problem number one, if you don't upgrade your computer, Mac they stop providing support. You can't go up in OS systems. So as you're stuck in 10.5, everything that comes out, you don't get to partake because you are still in the boonies with this old tower, not Intel. So as technology advanced and products kept coming out, I couldn't be a part of the trends because I was so stuck on what I had. I had to basically take the hit. This is why you need the money and have to reinvest it. This is why you might have to work 2-3 jobs, to get what's popping. Because let me tell you right now, if you try to buy a Mac i7 brand new today, you're spending $3,000 to $4,000. Let me tell you right now, you're gonna spend about $3,000, and if you upgrade the memory in it, or you go to a solid state hard drive, come on now. You got $5,000 in your pocket? There are some $5,000 laptops right now I know people have, fully maxed out. It's ridiculous. You can spend $5,000 on a laptop in a hot second. So let me just back up. I don't want to jump too far ahead. We'll talk about that. But listen, so now you're a music producer, and now you're not talking about it, you're being about it. So congratulations. You're no longer wasting your money on smoking and drinking, partying in strip clubs. You get it now. There'll be enough time for you to do that down the road. But if you're wise, you'll stay away from that stuff. If you're wise, you'll realize that that's just a way for you to lose your money in this crazy world you don't get no return on it. Your money always has to have a return. You put money in, you get something back. And getting back, throwing money into the wind and smoking it up, man, no, that ain't it. Trust me on that. I know a lot of great producers right now who are drug addicts and have serious alcohol problems because they spent their money in the wrong way. And now they're not doing anything because now they're, instead of chasing their dreams and chasing their passion and their gift, they're chasing drugs and alcohol. They got off track. Never trust and believe the devil is waiting for you to make that choice, music producers. He's waiting for you to completely invest your spirit into something that you ain't got no business doing so he can feed that and throw you off track, get you off what you're supposed to be doing. Now, back to sacrifice. Sacrifice number 1, personal sacrifice. Sacrifice number 2, financial sacrifice. Now you're moving. Now you're showing people you're a producer. You know what I'm saying? And now you've got Pro Tools. Now you've got Logic. Now you got FL Studio. But see, even in that world, you have to upgrade those things. There's entry levels to all of this. You can have FL Studio, like the $100 version, or you can have FL Studio Full Out Pro, and that's like what, some $500 or $600? Nah, dog. The minute you say, nah, dog, I'm not spending that kind of money, then you're not a producer. Producers don't say that. We don't say, you know what, nah, dog, I'm not gonna. I've said that one time, and I'm gonna talk about that. I'm not gonna be like, oh, nah, dog. Getting the Akai Advance, when they told me how much that cost, I didn't go, nah, dog, that's too much money. That's not coming out of my mouth. If you know me, you follow my career, you've been around me, or you don't know me, you've always seen me with whatever's the latest there is. Always. And I don't just buy stuff just to buy it. I have to be like in love with it. You're either an Akai person or you are a machine person. You know, there are these different producers fall in love with different equipment. I'm an Akai person. I have no machine stuff in my studio at all. I grew up on MPCs and stuff like that. I like the way it feels, the way all that stuff. You know, I don't have an MPC now. I have an MPC 4000, but I got rid of that. So within my production and producing within Logic and Pro Tools, I use my Akai Advance. I have, so let me break it down. Let me just continue to break it down to everybody. So now you've made the financial sacrifices. You've got the right software, but within buying software, you've got to make sure that you're spending money on VST virtual instruments. You might have to get a battery for, or some other drum virtual instrument. You might have to get various virtual instruments to build your sound. You just don't, if you buy Pro Tools, of course it's gonna have some sounds in it and some instruments in it, just like Logic. To me, Logic is more of a production software. Pro Tools is more recording, but you can record on Logic, don't get me wrong. I'm just from the school of Pro Tools, which when it comes to recording, I think it's just a cleaner process. So I'll produce in Logic and dump it into Pro Tools. You'll produce in FL Studio and dump it into Pro Tools. You're producing Cakewalk and dump it into Pro Tools. You understand what I'm saying? But even with that, you have to invest money in plugins. Make sure you got the latest stuff that's going on in the virtual instrument realm. Though the money spending never stops. You know what I'm saying? If you buy the right things, you won't have to go broke. You have to be very smart about your purchases. If you buy right the first time, you won't have to keep purchasing over and over again. So buy right the first time so that your investment is worth it, okay? So you've made the 2 big sacrifices. You've made the personal sacrifice and you've made a financial sacrifice. Now, I wanna talk to you about this next sacrifice. I did not take this. Well, I'm not gonna say I didn't take this journey, I just didn't fulfill this journey. The next sacrifice is education. Listen to me. Playing by ear is great. There's nothing wrong with it. There are a lot of great musicians. I play by ear, but I did start in band in school, in elementary, junior high, in high school. So I have some knowledge of music theory, notes and all like that. I do know that stuff. But I stopped there because I lazy. Didn't want to be in school. And here's how that comes back to haunt you. My Food for Thought band, all of these guys went to the school of Berklee School of Music. I remember one day, this wasn't the first time. This was like one of the times I got on my nerves. They call out the key, hey, the key of this, and they talking music term, saying music stuff. I had no clue what they were talking about. 5, 6, 7, 8, boom. That's what happens when you invest and sacrifice and get your education around music. Sometimes there's things that you can just hear things. Somebody say, hey, Kid G, you know, they start speaking a language that you can't speak because you didn't go to school. So now there's certain things and certain jobs and certain opportunities you will not have because of that. You know what I'm saying? Look, you can't run into like a let's say you can't run into like Maxwell, tell him you're a keyboard player. He says, really, you play, and he loves you. He says, yo, come on tour with me. He comes on tour and he finds out you can't play. You can't read music. You can't write music. You can't like dog, nah. See, that's the third sacrifice. You have to decide that journey for you. How broad do you want to be when your skill set when it comes to music? Education, let alone for the producer and the engineer. Really, for the engineer, you really, it's even more profound because it's a technical skill. But for the music producer, it just gives you more access to a broader range of skill set. You understand what I'm saying? Like if you could build a house. Okay, what if you could build a house and you were the plumber, the engineer, and the carpenter? Do you understand what I'm saying? You get that. You know, hey, I don't need nobody. I can do it all myself. Even though that'd be a very difficult job because you need more than one person. But what if you had all skill sets? You know, Prince, perfect example. How many instruments you play? What, 5 or 6 or even more like that? You don't need nobody to go to the studio by himself. You see what I'm saying? So as a music producer, education allows you to be very broad and gives you more opportunity. Now, if you play by ear, you know, nothing wrong with that because one of my bandmates said they went to school and all that theory kind of messed them up a little bit. It took them a year to shake all that stuff off of them and get more creative. But school provides a purpose. Playing by ear, you work with what you have. Some people play by ear and man, you would never know they don't read music. It's in them. I'm serious. Like, how do you not know? You know, and then they'll pick up some notation of music stuff along the way. You know, it just varies. So that's a sacrifice you have to decide if you want to make as a music producer, right? Now, let's say that you have made the personal sacrifice. You've made the financial sacrifice as a music producer. You got all your equipment, you got all your gear, you got everything you need. Because it's a business. It doesn't start off that way. You start off just, well, I can't say everybody does this, but you start off just making music for yourself and for your friends. And then somewhere along the way, you have to make this next sacrifice. Number 4, taking it from a hobby to a business. The reason why this is necessary is, really, you're gonna spend year after year spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and not write that off? Oh, I know people who bought equipment and never wrote it off. They didn't know. Like, how did you not know? Like, bro, you just spent like $3,000 last year just on your equipment. Bro, listen to me, people. Music producers, you have to turn that into a business. So and such productions, yada yada productions, so and so whatever, but whatever it may be, your next step is to go to your city hall or your court. Get your DBA. I'm breaking it down for you. Get your DBA. Make sure that you investigate the name that you're going to use. Make sure that you are not infringing on nobody's rights when it comes to picking your name, or you will get a cease and desist letter in the mail. And you might not get it right away, but as soon as you start putting stuff on the internet, trust and believe somebody's coming. So, you know, you come up with a name, Slippity Slide Music, and you putting out music, and next thing you know, your group is doing good, y'all making all this stuff, and then you get a cease and desist letter or a straight up letter that you're violating somebody's rights, and you made $20,000 for it, and they sued you for $50,000. Don't get me started on that right now. I don't want to scare you, but I just want you to understand that make sure legally that your business is sound, that the names are trademarked, copyrighted, whatever it may need to be. Make sure that you're not infringing on nobody's rights. Go get your business license and start your business. Write off everything that you can legally write off. Get your money back from the state and the feds if you live in California. All right. So from there, you know, you are now a music producer. You got the equipment. Now let's just say if it could be in your home, in your garage. If you start really making look, no one likes really particularly coming to your house if it's not set up correctly. Your apartment, I would say. There are a lot of great studios in people's houses, but people don't like coming to apartments and all that. They just don't. But find you a small office. Open up your business. Let people know that you know what you're doing. You know, people love coming to an office. It gives them, you're going to be asking for anywhere between $50 an hour and up. Man, I better not be coming to you. Yo, I better feel great about this experience. So you got to take that next level. The next sacrifice is business. You got to establish that. First sacrifice, again, personal. Second is financial. Third, school. And this order can be varied, because really the third one can be first. The school can be first. About it. And the fourth one is the business. Now you are a music producer. By this point, you have made all of the sacrifices. You are no longer worried about the money. You don't hem and haw about it. You know, you do what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Now, let me just share with you the one time I did say, well, and I might have talked about this before, but I was in the music. I was in the, so what I had to do was, this is where I wanted to kind of share with you guys. I had to basically upgrade my whole entire studio. It was obsolete. The 002, the G5 dual quad tower, not Intel, everything I had recording and producing wise was old. So I needed to get Logic. I needed to upgrade. So the computer I got was I do a lot of research. I'm into just making sure I buy one time. I bought a Mac. I saw a guy running a Mac Mini with a Raven. If you don't know what the Raven is, it is a touchscreen DOS system. And I said, that is impossible. So I posted, like, how is that possible? Basically, any computer you have needs to be an i7. Don't listen to nobody else about that. If you're serious about the music industry, every computer is better say, what do you got? A Mac Pro i7, a Mac Mini i7, because basically that's the Lamborghini of that's the peak top level of computers. So what I had to do, I got a Mac Mini i7, expensive, a couple $1,000s. I got what else I get? I got the Akai Advance. You already know that was probably after everything, what, 5 or 6. Then I had to upgrade the Mac Mini, put more memory in it, you know, throw a couple of $100s into that. I mean, the money just kept getting spent, you know what I'm saying? So bought new mics, new this, new that, a couple of thousand. Before you know, you're well into the thousands of dollars, right? So here's what happened. My 002 I thought was gonna work on that, did not work with the new. I remember what happened. Then I updated to Pro Tools 12. Pro Tools 12, actually before I bought the Mac Mini, it would not run on my old laptop neither. So after I got Pro Tools 12, that's what made all the upgrades and all this other stuff. It just kept stacking. Like, you like, oh my God, how much money is this gonna cost? But you just do it. But I just do it until it came to the interface. Listen to me. I was being difficult when it came to buying an interface. So I think I was gonna get the Sapphire or something like that. I'm in the Guitar Center talking about what I'm gonna get, right? This guy goes, why would you waste money like that? This old guy telling me, why would you waste money like that? I'm like, yo, this is like one of the hottest ones out. He said, what's one of the major issues with interfaces and plugins? I don't know. He said, it slows your computer down because your computer has to run all these plugins, right? I was like, as soon as he said it, I was like, oh, absolutely. You know, that's what caused all those delays and crashes and everything else. He goes, you need one and only one interface from this day on. And he showed me the Apollo Twin Dual, little bitty thing, right? I'm like, oh yeah, man, this is dope. He broke it down to me. All of the plugins run on the interface, not the computer. As soon as he said that, I was sold. I'm like, oh, my mind is blown, right? Because I didn't really know UA, you know, like that. I just didn't. You know, I had the 002 forever. So, you know, I'm thinking, you know, $100-$300 because the one I was gonna get was around that realm. And then he told me how much it cost. I think at the time I was like $800 something bucks. I said, excuse me, why is I like almost didn't do it. And the guy was like, why would you not do that? It doesn't make, you know, he just looked at me like, so as soon as he gave me that look, it kind of reminded me like the look people have given me when I told them what they need to do. You need to get this, that, and the other. Like, what? I gotta do it. Like, yeah, dog, you gotta do that. So that's kind of how that went. And so I got it. And once I got it, plugged it in, started working with it, I was like, oh my stars. Best purchase ever. You will never go back to another interface once you get a universal audio interface on any level. Apollo Dual, the rack mount stuff, it'll be a wrap for you. You're UA for life, straight up. Pro Tools with a universal audio interface, oh my stars. That's it, dog. You're all the way in. So music producers, listen to me. I've given you the full gamut of everything you need to do. I can just break this down for music producers, but I gotta get to my singers and stuff like that. Now, music producers, what you need to do also, you need to be ASCAP or BMI. This is another step. You need to become official. You need to be going to all of these conferences. You need to be going to every last conference that in your area. The bigger ones like NAMM you need to go to. You need to let people know you out here. You need to be posting your music. You need to be going to these mixers. You need to be networking. You need to be out here hustling, you know what I'm saying? And letting people know that you are serious about the music industry. And you need to be around other producers. Well, let me rephrase that. I personally don't like being around other producers. I like being around other musicians. There is a difference. Musicians are very specific about their skill set. So as a producer, if you're weak with your piano play, be around some pianists. If you play bass, whatever instrument it is, be around people who are good at that. I don't like being around two cooks in the kitchen. Nah. But I'll be around a pianist in a heartbeat. It's nothing. I just want to see how he gets down. All right, music producers, that was your turn. I gave you the walkthrough. Man, get out here and make it happen. Make sure you copyright all your music. One last thing you could also do as well is you can do producer tracks where look, artists are always looking for free music. No. But what you can do is you can sing on my producer track. It's kind of like what DJ Khaled does. I'm gonna have a track, you can sing on it, but it's my music. It's my song. You're just being featured. That's a good way for people to hear your music and also highlight people that you think that's doing good work out here as far as artistry is concerned. All right, music producers, man, that's it. If you have any questions for the music part of it, the production part of it, software, what I like Pro Tools, I like Logic, I am getting FL Studio, and then that's gonna be it. I'm not fooling with no other programs. It's those three. And I'm only fooling with FL Studio because I like some of the things that it does when it comes to the trap music. But I haven't got it yet. So if you have any questions, man, music producers, man, feel free to hit me up, bruh. I'm telling you, I am like, they call me wisdom for a reason. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you all the ins and outs when it comes to music production, licensing, whatever it may be, what sites are great to use as far as submitting your music to TV shows, whatever it is when it comes to music production, holla at your boy. It's your boy Arquise, man. Now we need to play some music. Yahweh International, man. We love y'all. We appreciate you. New Foundation Production in the building. Tonight is about music industry part 2. Let's keep it popping. Let's play some music, man. It's your boy Arquise, food for thought.
I wish I started over and my memory would fade. I put it on my city that I wouldn't be the same, just saying. But then how real would I be if I never took part in what happened on these streets? I promise if I make it, I'll just sit back and embrace it. Regret the time I wasted on the fame I could've tasted, and laced it with these changes that'll really make a difference. The art of writing history, the power of a sentence. Aries, the god of war descendant, with a modern day perception that I'm keeping hidden underneath my fragrance. They keep on talking like your boy ain't the same, but the only thing that changes is my name. What's my name? I come correct, nevertheless. Adrenaline rush pumps out of my chest. I used to take flight, now you're mad that I jet. I can't stop you, so you won't give sense. Take death before dishonor to a whole nother level, cause it's hard to talk about us when their mouth is full of metal, yeah. When angels rage, step to the front lines. Do you ever think of death? I tell them sometimes. And sometimes I get lost to this music, and other times I keep myself from losing it. Introducing these stars that come equipped with these bars that flow along with my jaw. They criticize when you fall, we'll brush it off. That's a powerful statement. See, they try to lock me up, but I devoured all the cages like R. archangel in the flesh. I'm not dangerous unless you try banging on the set. No cardiac arrest, my heart beats golden. Taking home awards for pictures and different motions. Yeah, I come correct, nevertheless. Adrenaline rush comes out of my chest. I used to take flight, now you're mad that I did. I can't stop you, so you won't get fed. Take that before dishonor to a whole nother level. Cause it's hard to talk about us when their mouth is full of metal. Yeah. Through my chest beats the heart of a champion. I made the best out of living in my ambience. Isn't it talented? Making poetry out of war stories, knowing that one day it'll come back to me. So fight for something you believe in, but when it's in your zone, just make sure it's for a reason. Because that same situation might cause you to stop breathing. They don't miss you till you're gone, but by then it's all grieving. My squad's in alarming, launching atomic bombs, disarming infantry, dropping flows that never get to me. It's lyrical calligraphy, spitting spiritual symmetry. Limit the growth of industries to guarantee just one of me. I come correct, nevertheless. Adrenaline rush comes out of my chest. I used to take flight, now you're mad that I did. I can't stop you, so you won't get fed. Take that before dishonor to a whole nother level. Cause it's hard to talk about us when their mouth is full of metal. Yeah.
Yeah. It's your boy Keys, man. Yo, that was your boy Toxic, man. It was a young guy I work with, and I wanted to play this track because this was a great opportunity to show you what I was talking about when it came to producer tracks where you feature an artist. A lot of artists cannot afford production, so it was my music, and then he came to me. Sometimes you may call it a development deal, but that can be a little bit different. That can entail 5 songs when you do a development deal. A development deal is different. Let me just say this real quick. You're basically telling the artist that, look, you're gonna develop them. That's not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to take his raw talent with my raw beats and music and add that, and then that's what came out of that. So Toxic, I appreciate you, bro. My boy David, man. I don't think he's rapping anymore, but you know, he at the time was going through a lot, man, and he needed to spit. He had stuff in his heart he needed to get out. And man, I had no problem with sitting down with him and giving him that voice, man. So it's your boy Keith, and we're gonna just move off of music production I'm gonna talk to my singers and vocalists. There is a difference, but what I want to do is really break it down for you. What I feel all vocalists and singers need to be doing. First of all, there's natural talent. There is a lot of great vocalists who never, ever took no lessons or no nothing, woke up that way. Woke up sounding amazing. You understand what I'm saying? And for you are, if you're one of those people that naturally have it, great. So let me just talk to the naturally have it, gifted vocalists or singers out there. What I feel that you need to do as a music producer and somebody who's been in the industry is not take your gift for granted. Don't think that your vocal is you are so special that people need you, because they don't. Because there are tons of yous out there that sing absolutely amazing. Matter of fact, if you haven't noticed, lots of times it's the people who can't sing that great that get the breaks. Like, what? Well, back in the day, I would say that wasn't the case. So if you look at the music of singers, female and male, the farther back you go, the better they were. But the farther up you go, it seems like the worse the singers got. Let me tell you why. Music industry people basically got tired of paying astronomical amount of money for these amazing all-star diva or male vocalists like Luther Vandross. These guys cost money. So what they did was, and I think with R&B they kind of got away with it. They kind of wanted the best without getting the best. Basically, they want to pay best money. You know what I'm saying? You got your Prince, you got your Michael Jackson. Excuse me. You got your Princes, your Michael Jackson, and various other people that came out of the 70s, the 80s, even before that. But once a lot of these great people started moving on or past, is if you notice what they wanted after that is like, hey, we can't continue to afford paying for these amazing vocalists. They started looking for when it comes to girls, we all know what they do with the ladies. With the ladies, you just need to look good and shake it, and your vocals ain't got to be great. They're gonna fix that in the studio. They wasn't looking for the divas no more. They needed someone that they could develop, that whose talent was good enough to the point where you might have second guessed your greatness. So you're the greatest vocalist. You're somebody at home right now listening to this radio show, and you know you can sing. You grew up in church singing. You know you got vocals. Then you see this girl up in here getting an award, and she's horrible. That's the music industry, dodging people like you. Yes, they dodge you because you are expensive. Your talent is expensive. So if they continue to sign and push these whack vocalists, then they can keep that money at a lower level. And trust and believe me, I know for a fact, this has happened to various friends, vocalists, who record labels gave deals to and never put their albums out because maybe they were starting to, get some movement, and they already had who they felt was their best artist, and you were pushing on them. They'll give you a deal just to stop your move, just so you don't interfere with what their artist is doing. Oh, that happens all the time. They shelve you like your album never came out. You had a 5-year deal, 2-album deal, and none of those albums came out. You never was heard of in 5 years. Your career is over. Do you know how often that happens? They gave you $250,000 or $500,000. You blew through it because you thought you was popping and famous. And next thing you know, no one's heard of you in 5 years. What happened to your career? Because you got played. They played you real good. Listen, vocalists, be humble. For you naturally gifted artists, I need you to look in the mirror and say, stay humble. Put in work. Continue to sing at church. Continue to do great work. You know what? Look, until you sign and you're on tour, look, nothing wrong with doing open mics. There's nothing wrong with doing backup. There's nothing wrong with you developing your talent. All these different venues give you an opportunity to look. I remember when I remember when Gavin, and she is an amazing, talented artist right now. When she brought me her GarageBand EP, she did it all on GarageBand. I didn't believe it when she told me that. I played it and I knew right then and there, I was like, oh, this is different. She's a different artist, but the commitment to where she was going was so clear to where she is now. You saw that train coming. You knew the success was coming. She was putting in work, but she was so humble about it, right? She's so like, there's nothing not to love. You don't have to be a fan of her music, but you fall in love with her music, or you're an extreme fan of her music because she don't sound like everybody else. You don't know what she gonna do, what she gonna sing, because she's gonna keep you on your toes. You know what I'm saying? As a vocalist, she never took her ability for granted. Now, for the vocalists and singers who may not be your Whitneys, your Mariah Careys, but you do have a talent, yes, you have to put in work. You need to be getting vocal training. You need a vocal coach. You need to work them vocal cords and your talent, your technique, and your breathing the same way that athletes go and work out and go get coaching and do training. It's the same thing. It's a muscle. It needs work. How you gonna reach these range? Look, let me tell you right now. Have you ever been to a concert and the person runs out of breath or they're tired? You know why? Because they're out of shape. I have personally had that happen to me. I was in Japan. This happened to me 2 times in my career. I was in Japan, and on the 3rd song, I was done. I was panicking so bad. I took a break, and I remember I knew exactly why it was. I didn't prep. I didn't do my work. You don't get a break. You don't know when you're gonna go on tour. You don't. Sometimes it just happens. You think you're gonna do one show, and then they ask you to stay for a month. You're doing, or if you're overseas, or you think you're doing one show and you got to do 3. You got to be in the gym, running and singing, working out, and taxing your vocal. Got to be careful. You can't overdo it, but you want to make sure your vocal can handle the strain of what you're claiming that you want to do. And being a vocalist and a singer, you got to put in work. And you got to listen to a variation of music. Make your vocal work for you. Make sure your vocals know exactly it is that you're asking of it. Don't say you're a gospel singer and you've only been singing R&B and then you get up and try to sing a gospel song and something's just not right. Don't say you're an R&B singer and you've only seen gospel because now you're going to oversing it. You see what I'm saying? Have you ever seen a gospel singer try to do R&B? It just something is like, nah, that ain't your lane. Or singers, in some case, singers who try to rap but they're not really rappers. I sing, I rap, but that gift and tool was not married together at first. That took work, time, and development. How to merge both of my talents because I hadn't really worked it out. And during my era, that was not cool. Rappers did not sing. Now these dudes fake sing and fake rap and fake everything else. Fake fame and fake everything. But for my vocalists, listen to me. So your responsibility is your physical health, well-being, and staying sane, staying focused. Do not hang out, go to the parties, smoke, drink, and do these things will absolutely destroy your vocal cords. Come on, you need to treat your vocal cords like it's the most expensive thing you have, because it is. On top of that, you need to be doing 3 to 5 showcases a year. If you don't book no shows, you book your own shows. You are your own company, you're your own record label, and yes, you have to make the same sacrifices as the music producer. Yes, you have to make the personal sacrifice. Get out your comfort zone. Get around from people that's going to just support you. Make a sacrifice. Yes, you have to make a financial sacrifice because studio sessions is expensive. Yes, you may have to get some schooling, some vocal training. You may have to do all the things that a music producer has to do to get your craft to where it needs to be. There's no way around it. You may have to do those things. You will have to do those things if you want to call yourself a professional singer. You will have to do showcases. You will have to spend your money. Quit looking for the easy way out. A lot of these singers nowadays want free this, free that. What? Because if you keep wanting things for free, you're not going to want to sacrifice anything. Look, you can go to a recording studio and burn $500 in a couple of hours just doing vocals, leads, and background. That's nothing. So if you are tripping over money, get out the business. Anybody who's listening to this, if you're tripping over money, get out the business. Because it's expensive. It's not for play. You understand what I'm saying? So for my vocalists, that's a sacrifice you're gonna have to make. You gotta put in the work. Learn various styles of music. Open your ears and minds up to various styles of music. Go to people's shows, see what they're doing. You need to get some mentorship around you. You need to be immersed in singing all the time. It's a craft. You understand what I'm saying? So I want you to understand that it's a business too. You need to have your own record label. You need to have your business set up. You need to do all the legality. You need to do the whole gambit of things that music producers have to do too. You understand what I'm saying? You need to own your own publishing. You need to be ASCAP, BMI. This stuff is everyday stuff. Too many artists and producers nowadays say they're these things, but then when I ask certain questions, where's your website? Is your name copyrighted? Where's your picture? Where's your bio? Why are A, B, C, D, E, F, G? They don't got it. So I'm like, well, how are you a music producer? How are you a singer? You having a showcase this year? No, I haven't had a showcase. When you gonna have a showcase? Well, see, what happened was, dog, I didn't grow up in the see what happened was era. It didn't happen that way. Nope, not at all. I'm in that get it done era. That's just where I am. I've been all over the world, man, with a Christian rap group. Do you know that Christside was the first Christian rap group in Japan? You know how that happened? Putting in that work. Life-changing music. You know what I'm saying? Food for thought. The jazz band. Do you know who came out of that group? Thomas the drummer, one of the most well-known drummers there is. J.R. Rodham wrote Rihanna, 50 Cent. He's one of the biggest music producers. Myself, various other, like, yo, put in the work. Don't talk about it, be about it, people. I want you to succeed, but you have to stop being lazy, or you have to stop looking for people to make it. And look, before I say anything else, I'm gonna end on this note. Listen close, get close. Don't chase fame. Don't say, whatever you do, don't say this, I wanna be famous. The minute you say you wanna be famous, you're already done. You're already done. Fame comes and goes, but your gifts and talents don't. That's yours. They can't take that from you. Only you can take that away by making bad mistakes. Don't chase fame, chase longevity. I've been in the music industry since I was 18 years old on various levels of success. I've enjoyed this ride tremendously. But the reason I'm respected is because people have seen this ride. They've seen the sacrifices. So when I need favors or ask people to do something or anything like that, the opportunities they're giving to me, they're giving it to me because they know I'm going to put in the work. It's your boy Arquise, man. This was Music Industry Part 2. I hope you guys got something out of that. Go back and listen to any of the other music thing. I've definitely go back and listen to anything about social media and bots. I want you to be fully informed about that as well. I want to thank Yahweh International, New Foundations Productions. This show was definitely dedicated for the music industry people and also for you regular people. It's good for you to know. You might have a child, a nephew, a brother, a sister who wants to be in the music industry. This is a great program right now. The one I did last time and this one, if you know people that want to be in the industry, bring them to the radio show. Let them listen to this. And you ask them, oh, you really want to be in the music industry? Then listen to this. It's your boy Arquise, man. We love you guys. Peace and grace.
Lord, as we walk in this life shadow of death, we will continue to believe in you. We want to thank you, Jesus, for providing us with a longing for your word. As the deer pants for the water brooks, there is a light that shines so brightly in our lives as a witness to your Spirit's song. Continue to create in us, Lord, clean hearts, so that we can give our all in all to you. Blessed be your name, Father, in these days of Elijah, where righteousness must be restored. We pray for more love and more power day by day in these last days. May your Spirit, Lord, continue to bless us with perfect peace. Lord, I do believe in you. 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 Salvation, you are the strength of my life. You are my hope, my inspiration. Lord, unto you will I cry. I believe in you, I believe in you, for your faithfulness to me. You have been my help in time of need. Lord, unto you I believe. I say, Lord, unto you I believe. When I am sad, you're there for me, Lord. Inside of me, you're alive. You are my friend, always of life, you showed me love and gave me sight. As I stand and make this claim, I speak the truth in Jesus' name. And you lead beside the quiet streams. You restore my failing health and you help me, Father, do what honors you the most. And even when walking through the dark valley of death, I'm not gonna be afraid, for you're close beside me, guarding, guiding me all the way. You provide delicious food for me, Father, in the presence of my enemies, and you have welcomed me as your guest. Blessings overflow. Yes, sir.